Hi, it's Lennon Harbour here, and in this video, I'm going to give you like a brief overall explanation of the different windows of Pro Tools and the different tools and features that you can see here on the screen. So this is called our edit window. With this window, we use it for editing really. You can see we've got the tracks going down the side here. So our kick drum, snare drum, overheads, bass guitar, and it keeps going down in this song anyway. What we use this window for is we can edit these, we call these regions. These are different pieces of audio that we've recorded. So this is our kick drum there. The edit window, we can kind of move these regions around. We can cut and copy. We can splice them up. There's so many different things you can do with Pro Tools. Basically, the possibilities are endless. So we've got our tracks down the side, and we've renamed them for our instrument. We've got a solo button, which means that if I played this, you would only be able to hear the track that's soloed. I can solo a few tracks if I want to hear, say, the kick and the snare together, or just one if you want to do that. On the other side, we've got the M, which stands for mute. Basically, mutes that track. So if you don't want to hear a certain instrument when you're playing it back, you can mute that for the moment, so you can mix your sound better. This little button here we call our record enable, and what this does, when we do go to record our track, we will need to have that checked, so we're recording to the right place. I won't go over every little detail, but I can do that in more detail in other videos. You can see up the top here, we've got our bars and our beats, minutes and seconds. We've got our tempo set at 120 there, and our meter, we're in 4/4 timing. Up here we've got our transport window. This is kind of like a remote control, I guess. We've got our stop, play, record enable. We've also got skip to the start, rewind, fast forward, and skip to the end. If you don't see this here on your screen, click this little arrow here and see how I've got transport there and it's ticked. So if I untick it, that gets rid of it. So you might just need to do that when you go into the first time. You can also bring up a bigger transport window, so if you wanted to have it somewhere else on the screen. This one shows a little bit more detail as well. Again, we've got our beats, bars, beats, and here we've got our time. Same controls as before. We've also got our metronome here. I'll get rid of that for the moment. Now, on this side here, we've got a few different tools that we can use for editing our pieces. So I'll go through them. This one's the grabber tool. Basically, you can grab a region, click, and drag it anywhere you'd like. It's very, very handy when you've got to move a lot of things around. Think of this as like a jigsaw puzzle, and you just want to move the pieces into place. This one is our selector tool. We can go into a region and select a point, or you can click and drag and select a section of a region there, and do what you'd like with that. So you can say I've clicked and dragged that area there. I can cut that out if I'd like, or I can select a point there and split it. I can separate it into another region if I go to edit, separate clip at selection. So yeah, I've got two different regions now, and I can use the hand tool on each one. So it's pretty straightforward. I've just undid that. This one here we call our trim tool. So if you're trimming from the end of a region or the start, you can just kind of do that easily. You can do that with the selector tool as well. The trim tool is just a quick way to do it. We've got a zoom, which we can zoom in there. There's a few other zoom tools up the top here. If you don't like to click onto another tool for that. These arrows, we've got this left arrow will zoom out. This right arrow will zoom in. You can also zoom in, make the waves more pronounced. And we've got these preset zooms as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 being zoomed right out, 2 being more, and 5 being very, very zoomed in. I've had a lot of students have trouble when they're using the grabber tool and they're moving some of these sections around, but they can't get it to the spot that they want because it skips. And that's because usually this is set on grid when you do that. Now this is a really handy tool, especially if you're in time with the click track. It means that this region will be moved to the beat. You can see that every time I'm moving it along, it's kind of skipping along. And I've had students wanting to say, okay, I want to get it in between. I don't want to go that far, but I want to go kind of in between those two. So to do that, use this slip tool up the top, and you can see how it now slides gradually. So I'll put that back to the start. So this is our edit window. You do most of your editing on this window, hence the name. If we want to go to our mix window, we can, this is the long way to do it, go to window and click on mix. You can see there's a shortcut here, which is the little command sign and equals together. So that's a really good shortcut to know because you're constantly changing between these two windows. So I'm just going to do that, command equals, and this will bring up my mix window here. I'll just make that bigger. So we've got the same tracks as before, but this time you can see that they're vertical. So we've got our kick drum, our snare drum, the overheads, it's exactly the same. So with the mix window, this is where you mix your track. Here we can change things like volume, we can add effects, we can add compression, EQ, anything that you want to put into the sound. We do that using our plugins up the top here. We can change our inputs when we're recording and our outputs. At the moment it's all set to this master track here. We can see that you've still got your record enabled just like before on the edit window, and the solo and the mute button. And here we have our faders. Now the faders control our volume. So I can, at the moment they're all down on those instruments. And I can bring those up, and that'll bring the volume of those up. With the inserts, you just click up here. Sorry, my computer's a little bit funny when it comes to this stuff. So you can see you've got all these options that you can do. So I've selected the bass drum insert, and I want to compress it. So compression is in dynamics, and there it is, compressor limiter. And here I've got a compressor, and this is where we kind of get into the nitty gritty stuff. So I won't go into that now, but we can check that video out later. So that's a basic overview of the of Pro Tools and the different tools and windows that you can use. Yeah, as I said, not too much detail, but if you do want to learn a bit more, check out some of my other videos, and yeah, keep on recording. Thanks.